Good morning, students. Once again, I welcome each one of you to class 11 science stream. I'm Marilla and I'm going to take your botany class. This morning, being my first class, I'd like to brief you a little bit about our botany syllabus. I'm sure your zoology sir also must have briefed you a little bit about the syllabus. Biology, it has two parts, botany and zoology. And biology, it's a branch of science that deals with the study of living organisms. So it has two parts, botany and zoology. Botany will be taken as part A and zoology will be taken as part B. So here I have written the syllabus of botany. So you can just check it out. We have 4 units. So in unit 1, it's all about diversity in the living world. Part A, the total marks is 4. Then we have unit 2, structural organization in plants. Part A, 5 marks. Then we have unit 3, that is cell structure and function. That is part A, 8 marks. And the last unit, we have unit 4, plant physiology, and it carries 18 marks. So here you will see that the total marks it carries are 35. So before we start, I just want to let you know that botany, it's all about the study of plants, and zoology, it's all about the study of animals. Now I'm sure you must be knowing who is the father of biology. Father of modern biology is Charles Darwin, and father of botany is Theophrastus. Father of zoology is Aristotle. So this morning we'll start with the unit 1, diversity in the living world, which carries only 4 marks. So here what you are going to study in this unit 1, diversity in the living world. You are going to study about the different terms related to taxonomy and systematics. You are going to study about the classification of plants into major groups. You are going to study about the classification of angiosperms. Then here you are going to study about the different tools to study the taxonomy. Then the differences. Then you are going to study about the characteristic features, significance, and so on. So in my last notes, I have circulated from unit 1. Few notes I have already circulated last week. And this morning, we'll be starting from this unit 1, diversity in the living world. That is, under this diversity in the living world, it has 3 chapters. Okay, the first one is the living world, the second one is biological classification, and the third one is about the plant kingdom. So this morning, I'll start with the living world. So I'm sure every one of you know what is living. What is living? Living, all living organisms, they grow, they reproduce, and they respond to the environmental stimuli. Okay, so these are living. Now, by the term biology, what it means? It means that the study of the living organisms. Bio means life. Okay, logy, that means to study. The study of the living organisms. So, what is living? Living, all the organisms are living, okay, and what they do, all living organisms, they can grow, they can reproduce, they can respond to the environmental stimuli. So we'll start with the living world, some of the important features of the livings. Here I have shown you there are 4 important features of the living organisms. The first one is growth, second one is reproduction, third one is metabolism, the fourth one is response to stimuli. So all the living organisms shows these important features. Now here growth. We all know all living organisms, they grow, and growth is taking place in mass. Okay, there is an increase in mass, there is an increase in number. So growth, there is an increase in mass, increase in number. So what is this increase in mass? This is all about the increase in the protoplasmic matter or protoplasmic material in the cell. And increase in number, that means number of cells. During the growth, number of cells are increased. And how these numbers of cells are increased? It is by cell division. Next, reproduction. Remember that reproduction is one of the most important characteristic features of all the living organisms. And reproductions, there are two types, sexual and asexual reproductions. So there are two types under reproduction, which is one of the most important characteristic features that is taking place in all the living organisms. So it is of two types, sexual and asexual reproductions. Now, you all know that under sexual reproductions, it involves only one parent, and under asexual reproductions, it involves sexual, it involves two parents. Asexual reproductions, it involves one parent. So under asexual reproductions, it is taking place, okay, by various means, and these are by spores, okay, then budding, fission, fragmentations, okay. All these takes place under asexual reproductions. So whatever the continuity of species, whatever the species, the reproductions that is taking place, okay, it's all by sexual and asexual reproductions. Then the next one, metabolism. What is this metabolism? Metabolism means all the chemical reactions that are occurring in the cells. And what are those metabolism? There are two types of metabolisms. The first one is catabolism. The second one is anabolism. So what did I say? Metabolism. So metabolism, it means all the chemical reaction that is taking place in the cell. And under metabolisms, there are two types, catabolism, anabolism. Catabolism means breaking up of the materials, and anabolism means building up of the materials. So catabolism, one example, respiration. What happened during the respirations? During the respiration, what we see? We see that the breakdown of food is taking place. And what for the breaking down of food is taking place? To release energy. So the breakdown of food to release energy, it's catabolism, it's respiration. And anabolism, one example is photosynthesis. What happened during the process of photosynthesis? The food is being manufactured. The food is being built up. Okay, so the building up of food material is photosynthesis, and they come under anabolism. So these are all the chemical reactions that are taking place in the cell. Then the next one, the last one, all living organisms, they respond to stimuli. All living organisms, they respond to environmental, okay, surroundings, and it may be physical, chemical, or biological. The response may be physically, chemically, or biological. And remember that plants, since botany means it's all about the plants, so we'll be talking about the plants only. So plant also their response to different environmental factors. And what are those environmental factors that the plant their response? They are light, temperature, water, and humidity. So these are the different factors that are being responded by the plants. Okay, so this is all about the important features of the living organisms. So now, diversity in the living world. Okay, we will be starting about a little bit about biodiversity. Biodiversity. Now, what do we mean by this biodiversity? Here also bio means life. Diversity is the variety, okay? Variety, or we can say that biodiversity means the variety of living organisms that are present on our planet Earth. Varieties of plants and animals that are found in our planet Earth is biodiversity, okay? Whatever you find in and around you, when you look around, the different organisms that you see, All these are biodiversity. And remember that biodiversity, whatever you see, okay, in our planet Earth, it's all because of the end products of 3 billion years of evolutions on Earth. Okay, and it is estimated that in our planet Earth there are about 1.5 to 1.8 millions of species. Okay, it may be more than that also. Okay, so about 1.5 to 1.8 millions of species are found on our planet Earth. There may be so many organisms, still the names are not known. Okay, so the names that are known, those organism names that are known till date, it is more than 1.5 to 1.8 millions. Okay, and there are so many microorganisms that we cannot see with our naked eyes and is present in and around us. So all these living organisms, okay, they are regarded as biodiversity. Now, all those organisms, they have got different names. In different areas, it is known by the local names. Even in our Nagaland also, it is known by different names, different local names in different villages. Okay, so likewise, the name of each organisms are known by the local names everywhere, and it varies from place to place. So what happened? To know all those organisms by local name, it's very difficult. Okay, so to avoid the confusions, the scientists, they have given a specific name to each organisms. Okay, and that is a scientific name which is known by one single name, and it is known throughout the world. So that is a scientific name, and the process of giving the scientific name to each organism, it is called as nomenclature. Okay, so as I said, there are so many organisms till date, more than 1.5 to 1.8 millions of species are found in our planet Earth, and all these organisms, each organisms are known by one universal name which is known throughout the world, and the process of naming with a scientific name, okay, of each organisms, it is called as nomenclature. Okay, so here, there is another term, by nomenclature. Now, what is this by nomenclature? By nomenclature means having two words, scientific names having two words, or we can say that it is a system. Okay, it is a system of giving a scientific name to each organisms, and it is represented by two parts. Okay, the scientific name is represented by two parts. So for example, under by nomenclature, as I said, that each organism has one specific name, that is a scientific name, and scientific name, it has got two parts. That is, so scientific name, it has got two parts. The first part is genus and the second part is species. So always, for example, the scientific name of man. Okay, you all know the scientific name of man is Homo sapiens. Scientific name of man is Homo sapiens. So here, always, the scientific name has got two parts. The first part is genus and the second part is sapiens. Okay, so always remember that the scientific name, the scientific name is always written in Latin, and if it is printed, it is in italic, and if it is handwritten, then we have to underline the two words separately. This is an important part, under by nomenclature. Here, when you write any scientific name of each organisms, always you have to remember that there is two parts. The first part is genus and the second part is species, and when you are writing in handwritten, then each part has to be underlined. So always remember that the first part, that is generic, genus name, the first letter is always starting with capital letter H, and under species the first letter is always written in small letter and it has to be underlined separately. Okay, then there may be different persons, okay, who have given the names to those different organisms, or we can say that the first person who have described, okay, that organisms. So we need to write the name of that person, taxonomist. Okay, so where we can write that? For example, Homo sapiens, it was first described by the lineage. So here you can write L-I-N-N. So this is how you write the scientific name. Okay, once again I repeat that scientific name, it has got two parts. The first part is the generic name, the second part is the specific name, the species. Okay, and the first letter in the genus is written in the capital letter, and the species, the first letter of the species is written in the small letter, and both are to underline. So don't forget about this. So next we will be studying about the important terms related to taxonomy and systematics. So what is taxonomy? Taxonomy. Okay? Taxonomy, it deals with the identification and classification of organisms. So this taxonomy, the word taxonomy, has also been derived from the Greek word, okay, where taxus means arrangement, and nomy is derived from the Greek word nomos, which means law. So what is taxonomy? Taxonomy, it deals with the identification and arrangement of the classifications. Okay, and this word has been derived from the Greek word where taxus means arrangement, nomos means law. Then we have another terminology, that is systematics. Now what is this systematics? This systematics, it is the scientific study, okay, the scientific study of the diverse living organisms and their relationship. It is called as systematic. This word has also been derived from the Latinized Greek word systema, which means classification. Okay, systematics, it has been derived from the Latinized Greek word systema, which means classification. And remember that this word was used by Carolus Linnaeus in naming his book Systema Naturae. Systema Naturae. Okay, so systematic, it is a scientific study of the diversity of living organisms and their relationships. It has been derived from the Latinized Greek word systema, which means classifications, and this word has been used by the Carolus Linnaeus in naming his book, that is called as Systema Naturae. Okay, now next is identification. Identification. Okay, what is identification? It is the determinations of organisms based on similarities and dissimilarities. Okay, there are so many organisms. So by looking the similarities or by looking their different characteristic features, we try to determine, and that is called as identification. And this identification also is one of the important in studying the taxonomy. Then the next one is classification. Classification. This is also a method. Okay, it is a method of arrangement or grouping of organisms into various divisions. It is called as classification, and this classification is also very important when we have to study the different organisms. Okay, without the classifications, without the arrangement, it will not be possible to know about the different organisms. So classification, identification is very important in studying the taxonomy. So now we will study about taxonomic hierarchy. Taxonomic hierarchy. Taxonomic hierarchy. Okay, now what is this taxonomic hierarchy? Okay, this is the system. This is a system of classifying or system of classification of organism in a very logical sequence. Okay, under this taxonomical hierarchy, there are 7 categories. So again I repeat, taxonomic hierarchy. Under taxonomic hierarchy, there are 7 categories, and it is a system of arrangement of classifications in a very logical sequence. And this hierarchy, it has 7 categories, and these 7 categories are also arranged in a very definite order. And what are these seven categories? The first one is kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species. So these are arranged in a very systematic order, okay, in a very logical sequence, and it always starts from kingdom. This kingdom is the highest category, and when you see down the species, it is the lowest category. So these are being arranged from highest to the lowest category. So always remember that when you have to classify, okay, about certain organisms, you cannot just randomly arrange it. It has to be in this taxonomical hierarchical order, and it has to start from kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species. So one example of man, classification of man. How you are going to classify man under a proper system of classification. So man comes under the kingdom Animalia. Then the next category is phylum. It comes under Chordata. Then next is class. It comes under Mammalia. Then order. It comes under primates. Family. It comes under Hominidae. Then comes genus, Homo, and species, Sapiens. And you need to underline it separately. So this is how, when we have to study about the organism and we have to arrange it in a proper system of classification, then always we have to start with kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, system. And this is one of the most acceptable systems of classifications, and there are different organisms which are categorized under these systems of classifications. So for today, I'll just stop here. I have already given the notes about this chapter 1 in the last class, and I want you to get ready because these are very important since it carries only 4 marks. So from this unit you are going to study only about for the marks like 1 mark, 2 marks, 3 marks. Okay, so whatever the terminology, the terms that I have given, you need to know. Okay, so you please refer to your notes and the textbook. And for today I'll just stop here and we'll continue in the next class. Thank you.